Hey everybody, Joe Vanourney, Cherry the Geek TV. We are here at San Diego Comic-Con 2023, and we're talking with Rob Edwards, who is the writer of a fantastic sounding new graphic novel called Defiant.
Yes.
It's coming out soon from Legion M. There's a Kickstarter campaign going on. Tell us the story of Defiant. It's about Robert Smalls. Who is Robert Smalls?
Oh, man. Well, Robert Smalls was born a slave. And among other things that he did in his life was he was basically the crew of a steamboat that basically shuttled weaponry, for the Confederacy. One night, he discovers that the white crew, the three white members of the crew, would take off for the whole night. They wouldn't come back until the morning. And so he and the other 7 members of the crew, they decided to meet their families in the middle of Charleston and basically commandeer the boat, just take off. And they knew that they could get to the, if they can get to the Union stronghold that was right outside of Charleston Bay, they could be free. So that night they take off. There's 5 different checkpoints. Robert dresses up as the captain, fortunately it's 3 a.m. At night, and gets through all 5 checkpoints as the captain. And as the sun is rising, hits the last one and gets to freedom. After that, that's where most of the story ends. That's when you hear. But after that, he is the reason why we have public schools. He ran for Congress 5 times. He is the reason why black people in the military, because his act was so courageous and thoughtful and everything. He had a newspaper. He had a railroad. He bought the house that he was enslaved in. When the slave owner of the house came back, she had dementia. He let her live in the house in her old room. And the most amazing thing, I think, he died of old age. He had a target on his back the whole time. He's the most famous black man in the world. And we know nothing about it. And so that's what is amazing to me. A lot of people, when they ask, like, okay, well, what happened? You tell the story, and they say, well, why don't I know this? Yeah. And what can I do to make it happen? That's when the Kickstarter campaign comes in. That's when Legion M comes in. But it's an amazing story.
Yeah, I hear the story. Like you said, I didn't know this story, but
right.
you hear about the story, you read about the story, and you're like, oh, why hasn't this story been told? So talk about this Kickstarter campaign and the team that you put together, as far as the producers and the people behind it, and why did you choose that route, a fan-funded Legion M, to fund the project?
Yeah, well, the great thing about Legion M is that Legion M is a fan-funded organization, right? It's movies by movie lovers. And the idea of the Kickstarter was that Kickstarter is the number 4 publisher of graphic novels. So when we started talking about it, it was like, oh my God, this is amazing because it so perfectly fits into what we're doing. We didn't know if the story hasn't been told because it was just not a story that anybody wanted to hear, or it's a story that just needed to be told. And so when we had the Kickstarter campaign, we were all on a Zoom that day, we're watching the numbers, and the numbers clocked up so fast. We were fully funded within an hour. I believe as of a couple of minutes ago, we're 700% funded on this thing. So it's really gratifying to hear that people really want to help us tell this story. Beyond that, we get to tell the story the way it should be told. And so we have an amazing group. Everybody said yes. So we have Nicholas Draper Ivey doing the covers, and they're like Rembrandts, these amazing things. We have Ray Anthony Height doing the illustrations inside of the book. Those are just spectacular. It's going to be, a true art book that will stand along any other graphic novel out there. Chris Robinson is editing, who did Black Panther. I'm writing, and the Legion M crew. We have just, one of the producers is a guy that I went to high school with, David Baxter. We have Marvin Jones. Bill Duke is in on it. And everybody that we talk to says, oh, we want to add on. So probably by the time anybody sees this, there may be other people involved with it. And so we're talking to some really fantastic names.
So this is starting as a graphic novel, and I believe the idea is eventually this is also going to become a film, right? This graphic novel is storyboards, basically,
right,
for a possible future film adaptation.
Well, I'm Writers Guild, so
okay, we won't talk. We won't talk about that.
We will prevail, and then you can, and then we'll talk.
I got you. Support WGA.
Yes.
talk about the Kickstarter. When does it expire? You said you've already at 700% of the goal.
Yes.
On something like that, where you make more money than you were seeking, how does that extra money benefit the project from beyond what you wanted it for? And how long do people have if they want to join in and contribute to the project?
I believe there are 25 more days to this current campaign. Kickstarter they're really excited about it, which is great. I believe we are like a Kickstarter favorite. It will get more as we get along with it, because I believe they're going to do more publicity for it. The more people contribute, the better quality of a book we can make. We're also going to do other books, probably, after that one. There are many, many more stories to tell. The more research I do, the more compelling, untold stories there are in this time of Reconstruction, when slavery was over, but racism hadn't put its boots on yet, and so there was this little time when people were doing the right thing. Black people were becoming lawyers and doctors and millionaires, and then the Klan came in and what Jim Crow laws and all that stuff. But there was this wonderful period of time when guys like Robert Smalls were able to start railroads and publishing companies and do all kinds of amazing things.
Well, you can check out Defiant on Kickstarter, and then the book will be out soon. It'll be available to order. Rob, thanks so much for chatting with us today on Cherry of the Geek TV. Stay tuned for more coverage here at San Diego Comic-Con 2023.
Robert Smalls was a harbor pilot, forced to steer huge ships through Charleston Harbor for the Confederacy.
There was a United States blockade just outside the mouth of the harbor, and he knew that if he could somehow get there, that he'd be free.
Came the night of May 12th of 1862. He got his family and the family of all of the enslaved crew on a 140-foot gunship, and they stole it.
They sailed to the side of the USS Onward, and jaws were on the floor. It broke so many stereotypes about what enslaved people could do, who they were.
They make him the captain of the vessel.
First African American to command a United States naval vessel, to being the most senior African American to serve during the Civil War.
He started a railroad. He ran for Congress successfully many times. He is the reason why we have a public school system. He's the reason why black people are in the military. He actually bought the mansion that he was a former slave in.
Who walks up to the steps of that home but the widow of his former master? She's got dementia. It's the only address she can remember. They take her in.
Only a superhero could have that type of empathy, that type of humility, that type of forgiveness.
My name is Rob Edwards. I'm the writer of Defiant. Before that, I wrote a movie called The Princess and the Frog, Treasure Planet, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Full House, In Living Color, a bunch of stuff. We're producing a feature film and graphic novel about the amazing life of Captain Robert Smalls.
Everything on television at this point is a video game or a graphic novel, and I think that speaks to the importance and the impact that this youth generation that we're in right now has on entertainment. My name is Marvin Jones III. Many of you may know me from Black Lightning, Harry's Law, Enter the Spider-Verse. The Robert Smalls story is, to me, a complete American superhero story.
Some contexts he's captain, others he's congressman. I grew up hearing about Grandpa. My name is Michael Boulware Moore. I really have a cellular connection to the story about my great-great-grandfather.
Hey everyone, it's Chris Cooper with Legion M, associate producer on Defiant. Thank you to everyone out there supporting this project right now. We are so excited to bring this incredible story to life.
Every time you hear stories like this told, you hear about just the pain of slavery, and there'll be a lot of that, and then there'll be an escape. And then the end of it is, oh good, he's free. But nobody ever talks about what happened afterwards. The world of Black America changed. Doctors, lawyers, millionaires came out of nowhere. Robert Smalls was key to that. He was the embodiment of all the great things that were happening during Reconstruction. We get to make the movie we want to make once the graphic novel is out there, because people will understand what we're doing.
Hollywood had over 100 years to tell this story. They've made more than 10 Fast and the Furious movies, 2 Emoji movies, and they haven't made this one yet. But we're trying to fix that. Legion M loves making movies, but we know they're expensive, they take a long time to get made, and they're really complex. And a story like Robert Small's deserves to be told now. Releasing a graphic novel allows us to get this incredible story out sooner.
Creating something that can package just such a powerful story in a compelling, even riveting kind of a way.
It's got some fantastic artwork. It's one of those things that rewards you for reading it twice because the visuals are so stunning.
We're working with an all-star team on this project. We have Rob Edwards, writer of Treasure Planet and Princess and the Frog. He's writing the graphic novel. We have Nicholas Draper-Ivey, who did the cover for Kendrick Lamar's Black Panther, the movie album. He's doing our covers. We have Ray Anthony Height, who did Luke Cage, Star Wars, Midnight Tiger. He's doing our interiors. And editing the whole thing, we have Chris Robinson, who edited Marvel's Black Panther.
Robert Small's, that story essentially impacts Black people today. And being tasked to be part of the team that's bringing the graphic novel to life using my experiences as a superhero comic artist all these years, it's an honor.
The team that Legion M has pulled together is just a fabulous group.
I think this is this kind of story that you want to help tell.
To the extent that it's relevant, I think the family will be 1000% behind the project and give a measure of authenticity and approval.
We want you to join us. We want you to join the Legion and help us tell this great story.